Hey guys, welcome back to the Music Hole. My name is Cole, and today we're going to be talking about another album by my favorite Canadian folk singer, Ferron. And this is her album, Phantom Center from 1990, her third album. And by the way, her first two albums are also excellent. I just want to say that. But this album has my favorite Ferron song of all time, which is called Harmless Love, which I'll talk about. But it's just a completely lost classic, in my opinion. It's just such a good song, and it needs to be heard. So I'm doing my part here. But anyway, I want to say one thing quickly before we get into some clips, which is that, for some reason, the album covers for her first three albums on vinyl are different from the CD and Spotify covers. So I'm going to put an image up right now of what it looks like on Spotify when you type in Phantom Center. So it'll look like this. So don't get confused, it's the same album. But anyway, yeah, I'm excited to talk about it. So let's jump right in with Stand Up.
Love in the corner, love down the street highway. And there's danger in the outskirts of town and in what you don't say. Either sinking or thinking the dark's your romance, or a special one shining a light on a chance that it's all very worthy to wait in the middle of the night.
I just love that bass line so much. It's so freaking memorable. I just love it. You know, it's one of the best beginnings to any album, in my opinion, that I've ever heard. And Ferron's going deep here. She's getting philosophical about romance, right? She's basically saying it's worth all of the heartache to attempt to fall in love, right? You're not going to end up with the first person you're in a relationship with, most likely. So inevitably, you're going to experience heartache. But, you know, she's right. She's saying it's worth it. It's worth going through the pain to eventually find the one. And, you know, hopefully we all find the one. I mean, that itself is not guaranteed, but that's kind of just the way it is. But anyway, so she's going through all sorts of romances, and she's experiencing heartache, but it's okay. She's willing to do that. So I like the message of this. But I do have another clip from this song with some more really interesting, cool lyrics. So let's check it out.
In the middle of the night, I'm gonna stand up and let myself be counted for. Stand up now. I got my one life, and what's it to amount to if I don't learn how to love you, love myself beside you, mix the gentle and proud. I wanna love like the vision in the winter told me stand up, stand up, let myself be counted for. Love like what's it to amount to? Stand up, let myself be counted for. Love like.
So I clipped this because it's important to understand that Ferron is a lesbian, and she was very important to the feminist and pro-lesbian movement. You know, she paved the way for people like Katie Lang, for example. And so on this song, in these lyrics, she's trying to stand up and be proud of the fact that, yes, she is a lesbian and she loves a woman. You know, because as she says, to love you and to love myself beside you, I want to love life. I need to stand up. So I guess she's been struggling with, I guess, feeling embarrassed or shamed, or she might feel shameful that she is this way, because society, of course, is, you know, at that time is very against homosexuality, relatively speaking, right? This is back in 1990. So this is before it was like not a big deal for most people. unfortunately for Ferron. So at this moment in time, she's in love with a woman, and she wants to sing her love from the mountaintops, as they say. But she's struggling with, insecurity. So poor Ferron. But I'm glad she's addressing these things on this album. It's very important. But anyway, again, just a really memorable song. I love Stand Up. But let's move on to track number 2, which is called The Cart.
The strap that holds the cardigan ring has been let loose, but wearing thin, by biting through. The shifting power leans to you, and the cart is on a wheel. I've wept with joy for the things I've done, and I've wept as hard for what I left undone, for what I left undone, for what I couldn't deem mine, for what I thought was yours. And so I drew the line, and the cart is on a wheel, and the wheel is on a hill.
So The Cart is interesting commentary on her mental issues, in the sense that, like, she wants to stand up, but for her it's like being on a cart that's going uphill, and the cart is losing its rein. The rein is wearing thin, as she says. So, like, it's a huge struggle to be herself at this point in history, and it's really frustrating her. But the reality is, as she says, the shift in power leans to you. So what that makes me think of is, just the reality of her life situation, the reality of 1990 is that, she has to really push the cart up the hill, so to speak. She has to do a lot of heavy lifting to be happy, to be proud of who she is. And it's a little bit like Sisyphus, who's pushing the rock uphill, right? It's a constant struggle. And even if, like Sisyphus, the rock keeps, or the boulder keeps rolling back down, it's worth struggling for. It's basically what she's saying. It's worth struggling to find that love. And even if you never actually get it, to never try in the first place would be a shame. So I think that's what she's getting at here. It's a lovely song. It's a very unusual sounding song as well. But that's The Cart. And track 3 is Harmless Love, which, as I mentioned, is my favorite Ferron song and is a complete, just like, masterpiece in my opinion. It's so good. So let's check it out.
You play it cool and then you love someone. You try to fight it, but kind love knows. You tell yourself you're in it just for fun, but ain't it funny how good love shows you how to tell it joke in troubled times? Pass the sugar on a cold, dark night. Spend your nickel just to save that dime toward a winter that'll bite just right. What's the matter with harmless? Take a new step in an old direction. If you think about tenderness, what's the matter with a hand on a hand affection? Do you dream about a new day? You gotta dream about something strong and simple. Each and every is a kind thing to say. What's the matter with harmless?
just such a beautiful tune, and her singing is so wonderful on Harmless Love. And it's, again, addressing the same topics. I mean, she's asking, what's wrong with harmless love? Like, I love this woman. It's woman on woman love. And what is wrong with that exactly? Like, who is it hurting? It's not hurting anybody as far as she's concerned. And yet people back then more so, but people today as well, are just totally against this kind of thing, or at least a lot of people are. So it's just not fair, and it's harmless, as she says. So she's trying very hard with her music and her lyrics to just have it sink in that, this is not a big deal, that this is something that should be allowed to exist, that lesbianism is not harming anybody. It's harmless love. It's just a beautiful song. It's a beautiful message. And thankfully, society has started to really understand what she's saying and not be so horrible against homosexuals. Thank goodness. But that's Harmless Love. That's all I want to say about it. So let's move on to another interesting sounding song, which is called Indian Dreams.
Young hearts, stay true, stay smart, and see through the stories that they say. The reasons that they play are not for you. It's big toys for big wars. It's pink noise and white scars. The dreamer and the dream are the screamer and the scream. I think that's true, because my Indian dream and my animal screams from the other side, and my baby cries out, and my longing breathes life into what has died, and my sleeper dreams hope, and my dreamer sleepwalks through the shadow line, and my praying one copes, knowing truth will draw the line in my Indian dreams.
Yeah, Indian Dreams is slightly confusing to me, I'll admit, but I do have a theory. I believe it's about what people are struggling for at the time. They're struggling for things that are not lesbian rights, right? So she's the dreamer. She, as she says, the dreamer in the dream becomes the screamer in the scream. And the young hearts stay true. And the reasons that they play are not for you. So the young people who are up in arms about, I don't know, let's say, when did the Iraq War start? I think it was going on in 1990. But they're fighting the fight that isn't her fight, is basically what I'm saying. There are other fights that are being fought, but it's not her fight that's being fought. And it's really getting to her, because she sees all these young people who are very excited and motivated to change the world, but they're not changing her world for the better necessarily, is what it sounds like. So she's having these Indian dreams, right? And by Indian dreams, which I think is a great metaphor, Indian reservations are kind of forgotten by most of the country, right? We kind of don't think about the struggles of people living on Indian reservations. I mean, we're still calling them Indians, so just that by itself is saying a lot. So, her dreams are like Indian dreams in the sense that nobody's really caring about them as much as she would like them to. So that's what it makes me think of. I could be wrong, but I like the song quite a bit. It's a very unusual sounding song. But anyway, let's move on to track number 5, which is called Sunken City.
I like what you say though you're crying. I know what you mean, I go there myself, and it's hard to believe you'll be flying. It's as hard and as easy as trust itself. You know it's not just the job or the goals or the lover who changed while you stayed the same. It's the future and it's needing us whole. Let's go on a hunch and give this a name and go in search of the sunken city. I think it's as close as we are right now. We don't have to move a sacred moment. So why does it take so long to learn how some things just pull so strong? Like the map of the sky is the map of your heart, and we've all been apart so long, with footprints and handprints and knees in the dark.
So Sunken City is kind of dense and hard to figure out, I'll admit. But I imagine she is comparing the Sunken City, which I'm assuming is Atlantis, metaphorically. The Sunken City is like the goal of all of her like pro-lesbian lyrics and, you know, outlook and everything. So like finding the Sunken City is the dream for her, and when you find the Sunken City, you know, suddenly everything is better, is what I imagine that she's trying to say. So, and what she's basically saying is that it feels like a lost cause at this point. It feels like for her at this moment in time, it's just never going to happen, because the Sunken City, if it's Atlantis, you know, we still haven't found Atlantis, and it probably doesn't even exist. So I imagine her Sunken City is, you know, like a goal that can never be reached. So she's feeling kind of down and low, it sounds like. You know, poor Ferron, she just wants to be herself and not have it be an issue, which is, you know, exactly like why should anybody care? Why can't she have her harmless love? So that's what I think about when I listen to Sunken City, is stuff like that. It's another really interesting song. But let's move on to track 6, which kicks off side B. It's called White Wing Mercy.
I left my father as only daughters can. I chose to see him as a monster of a man. I love my mother in her frameless cage, but never could I shake her rage.
Yeah, White Wing Mercy is a pretty depressing song, because we learn more about Ferron in her past, you know, her childhood. It sounds like her father was like a drunken abuser, and her mother was just helpless, it sounds like. So Ferron kind of had to just like leave as soon as possible and just move as far away as possible. And she even suggests later on in the song that she might have been molested by somebody in the family. So she just had a horrible childhood, it sounds like. And, you know, she didn't get love in her home, and the only love that she seeks out aside from family is forbidden. So her experience with love is just like so depressing, right? So the love that she has with her female companion, whoever it is, she wants to cherish that and praise it from the mountaintop, but she can't, because society looks down on it at the moment. So she's really struggling. You know, I feel for her. I feel for Ferron. But that's all I have to say about White Wing Mercy. So let's move on to Heart of Destruction, which is a really energetic and memorable song. Let's check it out.
I walk through your towns. Many times I've been looking for something that wouldn't be found. I stayed wistful, denying the reason. Looking out, it was always outside me. Looking in, it was more than I wanted to see. Ever doubtful that life had its seasons and spices and chances and places for me to be. But I won't be a heart of destruction. I won't be a part of the pain. I won't play. I quit. I won't be the obstruction that gets in my way. It just gets in my way.
So it sounds like Ferron has been drifting all over the country, trying to find herself in a place where she can be herself, right? So I don't know where she ended up exactly. I mean, she is Canadian, so I don't know what's going on with Canada back then, but, or, you know, I don't know like what the San Francisco version is for Canada. So when she says like she doesn't want to be the heart of destruction, she doesn't want to implode with sadness and anger. She doesn't want to destroy her life because she can't seem to find happiness or a place in the world, right? She doesn't want to let it get to her, is what it sounds like, you know. And she's used to this kind of thing, as we've established earlier, because she came from this broken home. And so she's probably built up a tolerance or, you know, a toughened shell. You know, she's built up some armor. So she doesn't want to give in to the awful reality of, you know, 1990 life, so to speak. So yeah, she's trying to be upbeat, which is why the song sounds upbeat. She's trying to be energetic and motivated and not let it get to her, is what it sounds like. So yeah, good for you. All right. But that's Heart of Destruction. So let's move on to track number 8, which is called Inside Track.
I got to kiss the face of heaven, and then when she kissed me back, I tried to roll my lucky sevens, and now I'm back on the inside track. My mind, my mind, my mind, my mind. I'm a quick flashing light, when I'm a glow in a midnight smile, or deep in a wide, wide night. Then I'm glad we're more than bodies, and that wherever souls in journey, I am thrilled this earth is beauty, and there's no past tense for easy. My mind, my mind, my mind.
All right, go Ferron. She found somebody. She found her soulmate, and she's back on the inside track, as she puts it, right? So she's happy again. She's got her life in order, and it sounds like she's a little spiritual, right? Because she says, you know, I'm glad we're more than bodies, that we're ever souls and journey. So it sounds like she really believes she's found the one, her soulmate, and probably she will be her soulmate forever, ideally, right? So maybe she's a little too happy, but that's okay. You know, she's had such a struggle for most of her life, and she deserves this happiness, even if she's maybe like taking it a little bit too far. But you know, good for her. I'm very happy for our heroine, right? I'm gonna skip track number 9, which is called Phantom Center, the name of the album. Just because it wasn't, I mean, it's a good song, but there wasn't anything I wanted to talk about in particular. So we're gonna skip to the last song, which, let me look up, is called Higher Wisdom.
Was it in your higher wisdom that you turned the light from me? Or was it just your sense of humor that for a moment I should see? In that darkness was I weeping, in that silence I left free. And now I'm waiting in your valley to be standing on your mountain, that I might tumble down your hillside to a place that waits for me. From the time I dare to mention, I was shown the broken line. In this world of good intentions, the cruelest love can seem so kind. And you may harbor quiet sorrow, but to speak it is the crime. And so I'm waiting in your valley to be standing on your mountain, that I might tumble down your hillside to a place that waits for me.
Oh man, we were doing so well on Inside Track, right? She found someone that she was sure was her soulmate. You know, she was just so happy. But on Higher Wisdom, and you know, it's in the name of the song, you know, she's finally had some experience, some real hard-earned experience that, okay, this wasn't the one. You know, she rolled down her mountain, as she puts it. You know, she climbed the mountain of happiness with this woman, and then rolled down the other side as she disappointed Ferron. You know, so something happened, and they broke up, and Ferron is just really sad about it. So, but she's gained that higher wisdom, right? She's not going to be naive next time. So at least she's learned something. And I think it was on track 1 that we were talking about how, you know, she even said, like, it's worth going through the heartache just to have an attempt at that, you know, that wonderful feeling we call love. Even if you have love and then lose it, it's worth it just to have it in the first place. And some people never get it. So, you know, you got to cherish what you have, basically. So she's got that higher wisdom now. But yeah, that's Phantom Center. It's just a really lovely album. Her singing is terrific on it, and it's a really interesting sound on a lot of these songs, especially on side A. You know, as I mentioned, like that bass line that begins the album is just it's so simple, but it's so good. I just love it. So I hope you guys thought it was interesting. I hope you guys enjoyed it. You know, feel free to comment with your thoughts. Did you like it? Did you hate it? You know, whatever you have to say about it. I mean, the only thing I don't like about this album is I wish the album cover was the same as the CD cover and the Spotify cover, because I kind of like that one more. But that's an aside. That's neither here nor there. But anyway, yeah. As always, if you like the video, please like and subscribe. It would really help me out. But yeah, that's Ferron. That's Phantom Center. Check it out and have a good one.